All right, welcome to the Focus Podcast. We're back here with Tim Langton. What's up, Tim?
I'm good.
So, interesting statistic. This is episode number 42.
Oh,
Jackie Robinson. Yeah,
right.
I knew you were going to say that. So, it just happened to be. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the studio. We were just talking about padding this place up to more of a crazy room.
Yeah. Kill a little reverb.
Yeah, well, it'll, one step at a time. Hey, more subscribers so I can start making money, and then we can start fixing this place up. That's on you, folks. We're getting there. It's a slow.
You got to start somewhere, man.
Yeah, exactly. So, you've been voicing the Jays for a long time.
Since 05.
05.
Yeah.
So how did that come about?
Right place, right time.
Yeah.
I sat beside Murray, who was the PA guy, for, 5-6 years, and got the phone call one day working at BNN, mixing audio at BNN.
Oh, business, eh?
Yeah. That's how long ago it was, because BNN doesn't even exist anymore, does it? Got the call, said, "You want to do it?" I said, "Yeah, I would." And I'm still doing it.
So that's 21 years.
Yep.
19.
Well, it's coming up. Actually, it's coming up. Yeah. I don't count 2020 because we didn't.
Yeah, that was a blip. Well, you're as long as me. I started 04 in there. That place.
Oh, yeah.
That's my dad's photo, actually. His cousin gave it to him. His cousin's dad, so my dad's uncle, I guess, had one of the original boxes in the gardens.
Oh, right on.
There was like four, one in each corner. So he had one of those, and then when that opened up, he got first pick. So he took center, the lowest one.
I can't imagine the boxes in the gardens were all that special.
Dude, oh man. Well, you're like, I'm
that
42, and I'm like the end era of the old stadiums, right? So it's like, kids nowadays have no idea about the piss troughs in the washrooms, the fucking actually smoking inside, like only for specific people, like private boxes,
I can remember smoking inside. Be early 70s.
Yeah.
In my hometown, Kirkland Lake, in the arena, and that sucker was completely made of wood.
Just also.
I mean, it ended eventually, but you think about it now, it's like, oh, that could have been.
That could have been a barn fire right there.
Easy.
That could have literally been a barn burner.
Yep.
Right there. We got a barn burner tonight, folks.
Hindsight.
That seems like something that you would write in Slapshot, like a scene that would be at a Slapshot or something, and the organ guy would keep playing or something, and just like fucking going down in flames with the. So where did you start announcing? Where would obviously it wasn't right away with the Jays. Did you do any other sports?
No.
Oh, really?
No, I came from radio.
Oh, okay.
Completely from radio.
Yeah.
So, talking's talking, right? Doesn't.
Yeah. So where were you on radio? Were you on AM or?
Yes. Well, when I started, there wasn't much else but AM radio, and that's pretty true, man. I mean, in Toronto, when I first started in radio, yeah, it would have been the early days of like Q107.
Yeah.
I didn't know Q107, but Chum FM in its rock format would have been. Anyway, late 70s, Kirkland Lake, Ontario. Took me around and around and around, and that was back then. I want to work at Chum. Man.
What was the affiliation there? What was it? A chorus?
No. This is back when there were small broadcasting companies.
So independent.
So this was there was I don't know what they called themselves, but there was a company that was Eastern Northern Countryside Broadcasting.
Oh, yeah.
So Eastern Broadcasting was literally Eastern Ontario, a bit of Quebec, a bit of the Maritimes, and then Northern Broadcasting.
Was it Quebecor or?
Quebecor. I did work for Quebecor in the early 2000s. through Power, right?
Yeah,
Power
yeah.
Broadcasting.
Yeah.
They owned the Barrie station I worked at the time. But back
VR?
then, I mean, what's that?
The VR?
No, radio.
Oh, radio
I was
station
at
Barrie,
B101.
okay. Yeah.
70s, 80s, 90s, or something like that.
Nice. Well, what was your slot? Like, did you
I've worked all. I've done it. I've literally done it all. I've written copy, produced. It's done it all. It's just not the same business. I'm glad I got out when I did.
You know, it's interesting. I was actually talking to somebody the other day, yesterday, a younger person who switches, and I was telling her about podcasts. And to me, well, minus the cameras and stuff like that, it's pretty much the same setup as radio.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Pretty much, it's the same like format in a way, but it's long played out. But it's just more like equipment wise, setup wise, it's pretty similar. So what I see is a huge trend of, you seeing all these radio stations shut down, from Chorus to Rogers and all that stuff. But these guys with all these experience, they got 30 years, 40 years of experience in radio, and they probably have their own gear, and it's cheap to put together. They have their own radio stations all over Southern Ontario now and all over the country, and it's like, when you're doing your publishing, these are the guys you want to reach out to, and these are the guys that I've gotten interviews from. So I've gotten interviews from guys who are doing their own satellite radio station now that have done radio for a long, long time. So that's a huge surge, like, on this front.
Not many people making a living doing it, though.
No, not at the moment, but that's like, the beginning of something, the weaker kind of get weeded out, and
you still need to be live.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the natural disasters going on. I mean, AM radio is, that's what you need.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to get any information from Spotify or any.
Oh, no, I'm not saying like that.
Like sure, there are some that.
Well, that's an interesting angle now we can go to, is that it's
because if your cell service goes down,
yeah,
you're not getting anything.
No, absolutely.
But if you got a battery and a transistor radio,
you're good.
Generally speaking, yeah, you're good.
There must be a lot of freer frequencies now. Like, there must be like, I heard about that when everything went HD and cable and like fiber back to landline stuff. It freed up all these frequencies from the old TV stations. So now it's like there's less interference for like astrologers looking for signals and and stuff like that. Yeah, I read something interesting like that. It was like the end of the buzz. I can't remember what the title of the article was, but it was like that happened in conjunction with like a lot of the radio stations shutting down as well. So opening up more frequencies.
I'm sure that would do something about the clutter in the sky.
Yes, but I agree with you. Still, there has to be some sort of like emergency broadcasts. Everything can't be going to the cell phone. Like, it seems like we're putting all of our eggs in one basket with. Cellular.
If you do it right and you find your audience, terrestrial radio still works. There are radio stations in Canada that are still doing well.
Well, if you want to, we're just going all over the place here. An interesting.
Oh, it's good. It's going to be like
Coast
that.
to Coast kind of like set the birth for a lot of these YouTube channels and conspiracy theory type, programs. I think, like, if it wasn't for that radio program, you wouldn't have a lot of these. You know what I mean? Also, certain personalities on radio stations. You wouldn't have these people, YouTubers. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost that same format. And without radio personalities, you wouldn't really have podcasts and stuff like that. So that's like stepping stones of growing the other.
Yeah. It's an evolution.
Yeah. As the technology changes and you see like a field disappearing, it's birthing another range of media. And so what I wanted to get to is what's your take on like all this local news being axed or like blocked. You know what I mean?
There was, see, I started in radio and news.
Yeah.
That was my original job, and that was what you did. I mean, that was the understand. Actually, I think it might even there might even be in writing somewhere, in some government document. The idea was, yes, we'll give you free access to the public airways, and these are the things you do in the public service. And that was news, and it was unbiased news. It was just, this is what's going on. Here's what we know. Blah.
Yeah.
You know, and then there was maybe the editorial segment later, and they've cut so much news that I think that. Personally, I think a lot of them should. You can't really say you can't take away their broadcasting licenses because, you know, people got to work.
Yeah,
it falls down the line, but the CRTC's got to do more than what they do because screw it. You know, oh, we're losing money on news. Well, sorry, that's the thing you provide so you can, or you start paying for access to the airwaves.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up because I think that's the thing that's holding back everything in this changeover. With exactly what we're talking about, like radio stations closing, and then that same technology being used for stations online and stuff like that. And the CRTC, correct me if I'm wrong, we still haven't updated since 1998.
That's probably roughly right.
Still in this television print mentality. And they haven't changed over to converted to YouTube, to entities like that, and treat them as if they're broadcasts, because they are broadcast. They're broadcast quality. You know what I mean?
Problem is the people that are running the CRTC, and the chairman at all, they're all former broadcast executives.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's the fox looking after the hen house.
Exactly. So. No, I agree with you 100%, and it's almost like I was talking to somebody about an EA stadium, like for esports and all that stuff, and it's huge. Like I've worked a couple of these events, and it's massive. Like I don't know if it's hit a wave and it's coming down, but I think like that is what you're gonna see in an entertainment style sport.
If that's what if that's what somebody's into, it's better than MMA.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
exactly.
It's
and it has more
sport.
of a reach. It has more of a it has more of a inclusive reach where anybody can be involved in it because it's just video games pretty much. And also it's like pretty cheap to do.
And some of these guys are making shitloads of
Dude,
money.
so when I did the Call of Duty one, these guys have a whole team. They have a backup player, coach, nutritionist, all this stuff, like a nutritionist for kids who play fucking video games and probably drink too much Monster and stuff like that, and like crap. So these guys, my point is like the guys who started this, the kids who started this, the FaZe team, they're from Atlanta, probably New York, I think. They all just lived together in a house, and they all had their own YouTube content. This is before the word content was like thrown around for people like me, musicians and stuff, right? These guys were really creating content. It wasn't like great camera quality, but it was like filming each other, playing pranks on each other. And they all lived in this house and they played video games.
Wow.
So, and all it was is just like kids who related to them tuning into this stuff. And the thing that really took off is that they shared each other's channel. So the algorithm just went bananas because it's like they had a core group within 5 or 6 of them that were getting a lot of fans, and so that triggers off each other. So basically they made this, the money came around and said, hey, we want to sponsor you, and then it just blew up from there. And there's a fucking league now. It's like they're NHL, NBA players, and they have full year-round leagues, and the top prize in like some of these tournaments are like $1 million, and second place is like $500,000. It's like they make a full-time living off these, like a good living, and I was on
Plus endorsements.
Oh, that's just the beginning. So it's like I was on a plane back from my tour, and there was a kid sitting beside me, and we got to talking, and he was on that Toronto team that I shot. He was on the losing team. But I was like, "Where are you coming from?" He goes, "I'm coming from Dubai." He's like, "We've been paid to go here, play in an arena there. We're sold out. It's like 20,000 seats. It's like there are people coming to watch like the Jays play or the Raptors play and pay money. But I've never seen an entity or entertainment where anybody buys more merch. The only time I've seen anybody buy more merch is probably wrestling.
Yeah.
And that's a lot.
Yeah.
Like the belt, all this.
But look at
crap.
how it started, by those guys lifting each other up.
100%.
I mean, I'm sure they're competitive, but they're not dicks.
No.
And, the more...
Oh, no, the one guy became not dicks, but egomaniacs, because it's like, this is a new type of rock star.
Yeah.
This is a new type of rock star that's also as big as a rap star. You know what I mean? It's like that lifestyle. It's almost like making as much as an athlete, but not having to put in the work
like being on top
of an athlete.
Like being on top of a music genre.
100%, but 10 times bigger. But it's like kids are coming to you, and the parents have no idea who the hell these people are. You know what I mean? It's like if it's a music star, at least the parents can be like, "Oh, I've seen that artist. I know." These parents have no idea who the hell these are. Like people younger, my age, that are parents, looking at their kids like, "I have no clue who the fuck this guy is," and he's making banks of money. You know what I mean? Like a NASCAR driver would, or a fucking
It's like any generation though, because there was times
Yeah.
with my parents and shit I was into. It's like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
Who's that? What?
Or
What's
even
that
like
poster?
the fact that people could be paid to play music. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, there's that. I mean,
There must have been a phase like that of
apparently if enough people get into it, they form a league.
yeah.
Because think about it, man. Surfing and skateboarding, it's all.
Well, I remember the X Games before the X Games when it was just like a couple of dudes skateboarding, and it was just like, here's a small event, and now you look at it, and it's like fucking year round.
Money,
right?
money.
Exactly. And no, I just see the amazing opportunity. So my point is, in what I'm trying to say altogether, is there's that, the video game entity, and then there's the YouTube creator entity. So what we used to allocate for, the written 35% allocated to, Canadian content. And like you said, it's gone to just panels, talk shows. It's not, you're not giving any money to anybody who's really creating anything, where it used to be, you used to go to Chorus, Liberty Village there, where it's everything was being made in Canada. Yeah. Cartoons were being made, all the drama shows were being made.
They're not making anything anymore.
They're not.
It's all reality shit.
100%. I think so. Let's talk about that. I think my opinion personally, reality TV killed everything in television and also production in Toronto. It made it cheaper for everything.
Well, yeah, because I don't know what's something I don't know what's popular right now, like Bachelor or whatever.
They offer me
do all those contestants get paid?
Mm-hmm.
So they're just, and apparently now most of the ones that get on these shows are creators, influencers now. Because it used to be, back in the game shows, like Dating Game and shit like that, it used to be all most of them were aspiring actors.
Yes. Yes.
So it's pretty funny to look back on some of that kind of stuff.
stuff.
But it was just, now they don't have to pay actors.
Yeah. Or pay anybody. You don't have to, because there's no script. You don't pay writers.
Well, there's a script, because anything on television we know has a friggin' script.
I did those shows, and it's a scenario. So what they do
they give them, there's a guy.
They give them scenarios, but what it's, on the other hand of that production, I'm going all at everybody here. What it is they pay junior operators, producers, to create the scenarios. So the junior people come up with these ideas, and it's translated into. So even the production side, they're paying very little for people to come up with these ideas.
But you know what? Those are probably the right people to come up with those ideas, because that's the target they're looking.
Probably, that's a good point. That's a good point.
No, I was going to say, I mean, it's not intended for. Well, no, it's not intended for somebody like me. But I was just thinking like.
But it is. But here, not you, but you'd be funny. Like the people that really, really like these shows.
It surprises me sometimes.
Are the weirdest people, and they're like my age.
But there are people like you're into that.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
It's kind of like.
Yeah.
Like, but you know what? You know what? Whatever. I mean, it's only a TV show. I mean,
whatever your vice
it's not going to ruin.
Whatever your vice is, I don't care. I don't judge. Anyways, it's like that to me. There's so many combinations. So that you had the SARS thing in 2003, which basically decimated the film industry in Toronto, and then right behind it comes in is the reality TV truck. So the reality TV is almost took over of what.
Well, it's been going on for a while, like Big Brother and Cops.
Yeah, for a long time, 20 years.
Cops it's farther.
I'd
from
say
reality.
the mid 90s were like the first, exactly.
I guess
Cops,
Big Brother, Cops. I guess those are some of the those would be the originals. I would think.
Yeah.
Did they steal those from the Brits?
Well, Big Brother originated from the Dutch, actually. So the Dutch. This is funny because I worked this show, and we had 2 Dutch guys with us to give us like the history of it, and then we worked with 2 guys from England who knew it. They'd done it before. So the Dutch guys told us that it started off in the Netherlands, and it was this spy camera type of show, and it freaked people the fuck out. So there was like consensus that people were like really concerned about privacy, and they're like, this could actually happen, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is like probably late 90s. And so people didn't like it.
With the Dutch version, were the people in the house aware that there was cameras?
Kind of.
Okay.
They weren't aware of how many, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And what it looked like on the other side. Okay. So then they made it a little more transparent after that. And then slowly people started getting into it. And you know what demographic got into it the most? The seniors. They were glued to it. Well, so
it's kind of like peeking through the window.
Well, and the interesting thing that they said that by the time it got to Canada's like the 50th country to do it or whatever. So everyone in every country is the same. It's like relationship heavy formatted. So whatever relationship's happy, that's where they focus in on the stories.
Wherever the drama is.
But here's as soon as they started in the States, different format they went with. They went with all the drama. So it's like more fights, more drama, and then that's when it really took off, like as a major television like.
Well, it's like even what's the one? Even the Storage Wars one. The way they
everything's a competition. Everything's a fucking battle. Like
the way they edit that. Like I don't know if the editors are being really serious. If they're going, oh, check this out.
I think half of it is almost like making fun, but it doesn't translate to that because people take it so seriously.
Yeah.
Well, look who the fucking president is or was. The biggest reality TV star on the planet.
What's his name? I keep trying to think of the producer of The Apprentice. Can't think of his name.
Oh,
Mark Gordon?
Burnett.
Mark Burnett.
So he's the one who does Survivor, everything, all the shit.
He must have like an interesting outtake reel.
Yeah. Oh fuck yeah.
Just from what I've heard from like Penn Jillette.
Yeah.
And he's not even really harsh.
Yeah.
Just the way he talks, it's like you're thinking, yee.
Well, I've been on some of those sets where it's just like, oh jeez, there's a lot of tension in here. It doesn't create. I'm telling you, it creates like turmoil and animosity between everybody because it's like. You're all shooting this stuff and it's like you're kind of absorbing the content you're creating. And what I found personally, crew members were getting jealous of each other of how many people had more shifts than other people. Because we're watching a competition and then it's becoming a competition with the people that work together.
I don't see that as not being possible. Did I mean that?
Yeah,
Did
no,
I say
I know
that
you,
right?
meant, you said it right. You did say it right. No, it's
That's absolutely possible. That's what I meant.
yeah, and it for me, I was like, I can't believe we're shooting this fucking shit. This is like, because I was on the other side of the glass. I was the camera guy in the hallway, and I was like, I can't believe we're fucking getting paid to shoot this nonsense. It was ridiculous.
That's why it's really like there's
Well,
so
people
many,
like a car crash, right?
there's so much content available.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so hard to get to anything that seems interesting.
Yeah, almost to me, it's like watered down entertainment, right? Almost, it's like everything has become a competition show or an elimination show, or it's just the same fucking format. And like you said, nothing's made anymore, so you get no more original writing, you get no original ideas anymore. So there's nothing that pops out, that stands out, that's like, actually, wow, there might be.
There's been a couple.
There are unique
what's
programs.
It's called Poker Face. It's on. I don't know where else it's streaming, but it's on Gem, the CBC, and it's.
Is it a Canadian production?
I think it might be like a co-production.
Yeah.
It's the same. The actress, she's the same one from. Russian Doll? Was that what it was called?
Oh, okay. I'm not
anyway, but it's styled like an old 70s detective series.
Oh, really?
It's like all the graphics go that way, the music goes that way, and it's kind of gets told in a Tarantino way, like this happened, then this happened, but then over here this happened, and then we jump back over here.
So there's actual writing.
It's I think it's one of the guys from The Office that actually is the producer.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's stuff like that. For me,
see, that show had good concept writing.
Yeah.
It had great scenario writing, and then if you have good actors, then you give them the scenario and they can.
They did have good. It was good acting. Good guest stars.
Yeah, exactly.
Every week.
So you have a lot of good comic actors that can.
Very much like that '70s detective show where you'd get that special guest star or whatever.
But you do have to start with some good writing concepts. Yeah. Like without that, you don't really have a starting point, right?
British police procedurals and old midnight special videos on YouTube. Man, that's what I love watching. So
I remember Sherlock Holmes. I do remember those.
Which one?
I don't know. Maybe the original 70s
There was one, like there's Basil Rathbone, and I'm not going to be able to remember the dude's name, but I'm trying to even remember where I watched it. I might have watched it on Hoopla or something like that.
Yeah.
But he got so into the role. Apparently, had mental health issues over it. But it's a great series. Yeah. It's a great series.
The outcome of it. Well, you see all that type of manipulation with directors and stuff like that, and you just think, oh yeah, that's why it translated into that. And
definitely, I advise you to Google it and read the story, because it's like, really, man.
That's like the ones with Stanley Kubrick when they did The Shining, driving like Shelley Duvall fucking crazy. Just driving her fucking nuts, and you could see like it 100% translated onto film, but it was like he was apparently a tyrant doing that.
Yeah, but you get a great performance. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Hope she was paid well, very well.
70s, I doubt it. You hear what some of these these stars make in some movies sometimes, and it's like they took a chance. They just took a pay cut.
It's interesting to see some of them. It's pay me less and I'll take points, and it turns out to be just a monstrosity.
Yeah.
But hey, good for you. Good call. It doesn't think it always works like that.
Yeah. Well, that's a risk too, right? It's like you're trusting that this piece A is going to be completed, and then it's going to have some sort of success, right?
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of like any really new release that I've seen that I've enjoyed, and there's been like major release.
Yeah.
And there's been
movie
nothing.
Wise?
Yeah.
No.
I'm just trying.
I can't remember the name, and it was at the Fox Theater here, and it was a Canadian made film, 100% Canadian made, and it was almost as scary as the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like the original 70s one. Like glorious nature, but just this brutal murder scenes.
The contrast.
Yeah, a guy like that with like, living in the woods, just gone nuts.
Yeah, horror's not my thing.
Yeah, no, neither am I, but there's something about a horror movie that's shot so fucking well that you really have to just appreciate it as a piece of art. Right?
I mean, there's some I've seen, like, Exorcist.
I took it out of my mouth.
I saw that when it came out by myself in the theater. Freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah. Well, I just saw it last year in 4K, and I laughed my ass off, especially when her head's fucking spinning. I just started laughing because to me, when I was 9 years old and saw that on a fucking, downgraded VHS version, I was scared shitless of that chick.
I had a crush on Linda Blair for the longest time.
That was an insult I used to say. I'm like, don't go Linda Blair on me. Just take it easy, man. Fucking.
I think that's one of the reasons that they're remaking a lot of stuff. It's like somebody's going to go, imagine if we made that now, what that would look like.
Yeah.
And so they make them like, stop doing that, man.
Well, the thing I love about going
you can do that effect on a new movie. Okay?
Yeah. You don't need to do all that cheap shit. No, I like special effects that are non-CGI, and like that movie was groundbreaking because the way he had the bed come up, and it was like these pulley systems. I'm just gonna check my battery for this camera, but yeah, that was. Oh, we're good. Oh, built-in memory is full. All right, as long as it doesn't turn off on us. Yeah, no, I like seeing these old films because when you watch them in the 80s on TV, they were downgraded. So, like, you're not watching the movie that you were supposed to intend to watch it. And even if you watch it in the theaters back in the day, it's not as great.
That good, no.
Now you got HD, projectors, and they're 4K. So I'm watching all these films that I never got to see as a kid, seeing them for the way they were supposed to be viewed, and they're fucking pieces of art. Like I went and saw the Exorcist, and what a great movie! Holy shit! Like just visually, like that one, the poster alone, like where the doctor's in the fog.
Yep.
Like, what a piece of art! Like that's cinematography beauty. Like it does. The cinematographers in there were top notch, like some of the best.
Movie that scared me the most though was Jaws. Yeah, because
just your imagination alone fucked with you. Like
I was living in Northern Ontario at the time, and we got the movies probably 6 months after everywhere else. Yeah, visiting my brother in Kitchener, where he was going to university. Wound up going to the movies with him. What are we going to see? Jaws. Jaws. Okay, scared though.
You had no concept of it.
I had no idea what was coming.
So that's more frightening.
And that one where when the diver's head came floating past the screen, that was like peel me off the ceiling, man. Because I would have been like 16 probably at the time.
So here's my question. Because after I saw that, I was like, I used to go to my aunt and uncle's cottage up in Lake Joe, and we used to water ski a lot. So when you fall off, you're waiting there. Holy shit, your imagination running wild. And it's like you're putting logic together. Like there's no sharks here because obviously it's a fucking lake.
How big are the pike in here?
You're like, you can't see to the bottom. So you're like, what the... That was anxiety ridden for me as a child after seeing that movie. I was like, no matter any body of water.
You got to keep your knees up where the water's warm, right?
That's probably what's keeping me from doing more surfing is fucking Jaws.
I don't know, man. The ocean,
the ocean scares the shit out of me.
I love the ocean. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about being in the middle of it, but
no, I'm good.
I did a short cruise, and you look out there, and it's just like nothing for as far as you can see, there's nothing.
Forever. Yeah, that's no place I don't want to be. I've been in the Caribbean a couple times. I've been even like, when you're at a party and you're over it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be at a party in the middle of the ocean and I'm over it.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's what a lot of those catamarans were. Like, you go all day and there's no shade and people get blitz shit faced.
I did that for 5 hours on Lake Ontario. I was done after an hour and a half.
Yeah, fuck that shit. No.
Now I'm stuck here with nothing to do but drink.
I got a good story about that. I used to work Whiskey Saigon. It's a chum building now. So that was part of the Liberty Grand Entertainment Group. So they owned all the nightclubs downtown.
I remember that name.
So a couple of years a couple times a year they would pay for big fucking parties for us. It would be all the staff from all the the venues. So one time they had a boat for us out on Lake Ontario, and it was a Heineken event. So nonstop free Heineken. And I'm like 19. I'm like, 21. I'm like the kid that's working with all the 30-year-olds and, like the lifetime clubbers, And so I get there and I got so shit-faced. And for some reason I decided to wear khakis or something and something nice. It was a total mistake. And it was like putting a suit on a pig before he's going into fucking slop. So for some reason I like we were eating chips and salsa out in the open, and I ended up sitting on like salsa, and I was a mess. It was bad. Yeah, and I remember the point of what I'm saying is like about 2-3 hours into it, I'm like, I'm over this. So, but what are you gonna do else?
All you gotta do is
with free booze.
Try and find a quiet spot.
Yeah, well, I wasn't at that age to figure that out yet. I was still like, well, I can drink past this, Yeah.
No, you can't.
No, you can't. I think that camera's dead, but oh well. We'll just stick to these two cameras. Yeah. So, when did you get into playing drums?
Oh, jeez.
That was
long time ago. Although
years.
you'd think I'd play better for that amount of time. I played probably from about 10 to 14.
Okay.
I still have my kick, but I got into refereeing hockey, and I was a hockey freak at one point in my life. I was constantly on the ice playing, refereeing, blah blah blah. Anyway, and then found radio. And was traveling around, and drums aren't the best instrument when you're traveling around the country.
No.
And then got back into it just by luck, I guess, about 2002.
Okay.
And away we go.
So right around, because
did briefly have some lessons, and
Yeah.
Actually, the most recent drum teacher I had was Sean Kilbride, who was the drummer from Haywire, if you remember that. Good guy. No, he does a lot of musical work, like in the pit band for musicals and such. He's a very good drummer.
Yeah, I remember because I first came to Grossman's it was like 2015, 2016, because Wayne brought me there.
Was I playing?
Yeah,
I was there.
Well, maybe not the first night, but maybe like following night. But I saw you there, and I was like, "What?" It was like seeing you out of context, because I was used to seeing you at the Jays, and then I was like, "Oh, you do this," and you're like, "You do this," and it was like it was cool because it's kind of out of place.
That was a really good place to get involved with for me.
Yeah.
Because, like I say, I mean, I'm by no means the best drummer.
Well, you don't play as often, so you don't.
Well, it's not even that. If I practiced, if I had more time and I practiced more, but
practice.
It's just.
We talking about practice.
Bass players like playing with me because once we lock in.
Yeah.
Once I find the groove, away we go. Because so much of that is, so much we do at Grossman's is, what song are we playing?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that, but okay, let's go.
Let's go. Well, that's where I really learned to run with shit and try shit out, was with you guys there. And
It's a very welcoming place.
oh yeah, it's the best. And I found out a few months after I was going there, I was telling my dad, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's the first place I started drinking." And I was like, let me guess, you were nowhere near of age. He's like, no, I was 14, 15 years old.
Surprising the number of people have stories like that about Grossman's.
Yeah.
I mean, for those that don't know, I mean, every fourth Thursday at Grossman's, is this me here? Every fourth Thursday at Grossman's, open mic, you show up around 7:30 and sign up and play with the band or without the band, and just if you've got an urge to play, man, come and play.
It's one of the best ones in the city.
It's good for your soul. Come and play some music. It's good for your soul.
Yeah. And then we were jamming a lot, and that thing happened where we didn't go outside. We won't talk about that fucking nonsense. Anyways, I was working downtown, and then I ran into you. I was doing a corporate, and you're like, "Man, I want to fucking play." And I was like, "Man, I need a drummer and a bass player." And you're like, "Well, I got a bass guy, Adrian." And you're like, "We're in." And I was like, "All right." So that was May, I think. And then I had the place at T.O. Lounge in Parkdale.
Right.
Shout out to, what's his name again? Robert. Robert holds it down there. We just started experimenting there. So it was me, you, Adrian, and Wayne went in one day.
Right.
And we just ripped it. And then the next week, I think I brought in keys and a guitar player. And we're like, hey, let's just do this. So...
Yeah, the past year has been rehearsals. Now we're really good.
Yeah, we'll rehearse eventually. But no, it's been fun. It was cool because I was like at a point where I wasn't tired of doing my songs live. I was just like, I want like a level of maturity to this where I can have longevity, right? So I was like, a band would be great. And then, yeah, it was just perfect. I saw you that day, and then I was like, all right, let's fucking put the pieces together.
Yeah.
And that festival was fun, man.
Oh yes, yes.
So I'm gonna try and lock that date in next year, too. And you said you already got the J schedule.
Yeah, it's there.
That's off.
I think we cleared that.
Yeah. Right.
And get some sponsors and do fun stuff.
We will. We're gonna get that lock in and get expenses paid for and stuff like that. Yeah, man. Anything you want to add? I
No.
think we've had a good chat.
Yeah, no, I got. Hey, man.
Yeah, I like that little blast in the CRTC a bit. And, well, that's another thing too. I think is interesting. That has to be looked at as a new line of journalism, in a way, is podcasts. And I not mean everybody. I mean like, the top tier that are doing it professionally have to be regarded as like Canadian content.
Well, it should be just like music. If it's produced in Canada and the artist,
what is that? The MAPL,
music artist production lyrics.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you do about lyrics, but if the person hosting the podcast is Canadian and he's sitting in Canada, it's Canadian.
Yeah, and we should have. This is my opinion. We should, unless we already do.
Which is really stupid. Why wouldn't it be Canadian?
We should have a headquarters for YouTube in Toronto, a Canadian one, a Canadian version.
Oh,
or something like. I think isn't Rumble Canadian? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I gotta dig deeper into that, but there's got to be a platform like that that's Canadian, and it's like, this is Canadian content. We're gonna put money into this, and just. Another example.
Well, you could put them all together and call it ad-assisted television, which is the funniest thing. Yes, it's called television.
Yeah,
that's what they're called. Like Prime now, there's ads. They call it ad-assisted television. It's just
the
television.
same fucking shit as fucking television. It's what Carlin said, the dumbing down of words. It's
Like, I don't mind commercials. If I can watch shit when I want to
Yeah.
watch it, I don't really have a problem with commercials.
Isn't that the point of like going to the streaming services, avoiding the commercials? So now you're being bombarded with more commercials than you've ever had.
Try our all-new ad-assisted television.
So it's like TV, but it's hyper now. It's like hyper ads. It's
just
they're making 10 times as much as what they used to.
They've just invented television. Way to go!
What, you had radio or something? No,
That's
refurbished it, called it something different.
It's just stupid.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think this is eventually this technology, especially live streaming, is going to benefit indie artists the way that podcasts benefited like comedians. You know what I mean? Because my example always for that is before comedians needed Just for Laughs, sitcoms, appearances on late night television. They don't need any of that shit anymore. And to the point where Just for Laughs is gone, obsolete. You don't need to take that route anymore. There's many comedians doing very, very well for a living. So I think the same thing is going to be said for like live streaming for indie musicians. And
you just got to figure out how to break through all that crap.
Well, I think the money needs to go where the creation already is, and it's like
problem is there's people like me running the show.
Yeah.
Okay, I shouldn't say like me, but people in my age group with no clue.
Yeah.
It's just probably one of the, I don't know, a lot of things made sense. I was with somebody who was younger than me. We're driving along and Drake comes on the radio. And I kind of went, I don't get this. And he said, well, it's not for you. Mm-hmm. It's like, right. So these people, it's not for you. So step away and let's be represented by,
Yeah, well, you can say the same thing about the video games. Because I talked to somebody who I work with, and he, I said, well, why isn't this, stadium going off? And I'm like, is it people at a certain age that don't see the potential of this? And he's like, 100%. He's like, the gatekeepers don't see how big this actually is.
That's because everything's dividends, making profit, buy back the stock.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's
that entity, that way of doing is kind of dead. Not dead, but it's like needs to be retranslated into a different form.
Well, everything's it's just about making money.
Yeah. There's no creativity in it.
I mean, we could do another hour just talking about how fucked up our society is.
That's another episode. That's like a 10-part series. Fucking, where do we start? Well, I think it comes down like a summary of it would be really, if you're not producing anything, what the fuck do you expect the outcome to be? You know what I mean? So it's like Carlin said, shit in, shit out.
Yeah.
That's what we have. We have nothing's made here. There's with everything. There's no manufacturing here. There's no, arts made here. It's all somewhere else. And we have all the talent right here. It's always been here. Wow. Even like in the 90s when, big actors were huge. They had to go to Hollywood. So that idea also too of going to Hollywood and New York you don't need that anymore because you have fucking internet and YouTube and all that shit. Anybody could be a star like anywhere, you know what I mean? They don't need to be in a specific area, right? If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. Decentralization.
Yeah. Anyways, on that note, thanks for coming by.
My pleasure, sir.
Yeah. We'll have a little post-game safety meeting here. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Stay focused.